bit more of exactly how I build these charts and what I go through to plan my day. I'm taking a little bit of a risk here by streaming while I'm outside, so you'll probably hear a few random things that I didn't plan, but such is life. Um, and I also wanted to share that over the weekend, I was working with someone who was working towards advancing their career, and they were asking questions about whether they should and things like that. And of course, I'm sitting here, I know where Palas stands right now. So I'm like, oh, yeah, definitely. Send it this weekend. Like, do that. And I was also working with a client previously, more recently as well. I think it was earlier in the week, on also making that decision on how to actually go about sending a certain kind of message. These are the sorts of things that the stars can tell me when and what message is best for that time and the nuance to conduct at that time. I don't really need to know much about the situation. Um, I'm finding it very, very simple to just read the stars and see when it's best time to do something. And it's not about what to do. I want that to really be the takeaway here. It's not about what to do. It's about when to do what you choose. And that's why on this void of course, you've seen every single time I publish one of those circuits, there's a little square that says the next planning phase is this time. And in that time frame, every single time I'm live showing you how I'm planning. During the moon's void of course is that same time frame that I put down for the next planning phase, because the void of course is my key for actually planning when I plan to plan. The moon's void of course is the first thing that I look at to figure out what I'm actually going to plan. All right. So my Astro Tickler at Canva is when I'm actually figuring out when I'm going to plan, because I do all my little bibbity bobs on that part in Canva, as I showed you on my last live stream. And what I'm looking at is the moon's void of course, and I have here highlighted in different colors, from February 27th onward, because that's when I started using this document in terms of planning exactly when I was going to plan. I had it on a paper system before. This just shows you the digital version. And so in green, that's a really good time frame. Like I've got a lot of good time to plan. In blue, it's like that's only if I'm really pressured to plan. In yellow, it's like this is still good time frame, but it's not a lot of time to plan. Like you've really got to focus in on that time. So you'll notice that for March, we've got March 12th, which has a pretty good large chunk of time to plan. March 8th is a pretty decent amount of time. I mean, it's only really 3 hours during business hours. That's a pretty good chunk, but it's a little tight, right? And March 4th, today, is basically the whole day is great for planning. But apart from that, we've got March 4th, we've got March 8th, we've got March 12th, and then we've got March 24th. Okay. So, and what I'm noticing is that this tends to happen pretty much every single month, right? We get a couple of good planning days back to back, and then it's like 2 weeks later when we get to plan again. So if you're trying to plan on a regular basis, like every single week on a specific day, you're probably going to find more resistance if it's outside of one of these time frames. Because the moon's void, of course, is when we have the most inert emotions. It's when we can think for ourselves the most. It's when we can actually do what we choose to do the most. And so if we're trying to plan on a day when the moon is very active, we're going to find ourselves drawn towards everything but planning. planning is pretty boring, right? I mean, you know, the sort of stuff that I nerd out about, okay? Budgets, quarterly strategic planning, and astrology. These are the things on my desktop. Um, the, most people would call that really boring. I do not. I nerd out over this shit all the time. I love complex systems, numbers, trajectories, strategies. This is my nerddom. So, but that's how I ultimately figure out when I'm going to plan, is I look at when the moon is void, of course, because that's when I'm actually going to get to do this thing, which, I mean, frankly, even though I nerd out about planning and all of that stuff, even I will sit here and go, ah, do I really want to sit here and do this? Right? Because it is a little bit tedious. Right? Once I've figured it all out, it's kind of boring to me, as I'm sure it is for most people too. Like, I'm not alone in this. I'm sure I'm not alone in this. I'll show you what I mean. Actually, I'll check it on chat here right quick. Awesome possum. So, I'll show you what I mean by how tedious this is. Okay, these are my actual charts. So once I've gone through Canva and I've actually looked at, you know, the moon's void, of course, and any major moon events that I need to know about, um, I've put those in Canva. Now I'm just, I mean, these are my star charts for the next month, up here on the right hand side. These are the charts that I copied over from previous circuits. Uh, yeah. So anyway, um, and I'll give you a little bit of an idea. Let me see, actually, I think, yep. So this is a full circuit, and this will give you a little bit of an idea as to what I mean by, like, I know where Pallas is stationed right now. I know what's going on with that. So I know that it's a good time to do what you did or didn't. You know what I mean? Like, eh, that kind of nuance really only comes from looking at the asteroids included in with the rest of the stars that you see in the regular circuit. This is a full circuit. This is the abridged circuit that I publish every day. Because this tells the story that will impact the most people. These asteroids down here, okay, Vesta, Juno, Pallas, Ceres, Chiron, and Lilith, these all impact people in a very nuanced way. And so if you are looking at it in a generalized way, it's not really going to matter as much in your day to day, right? Um, these planets matter a great deal in your day to day, everyone's day to day. So that's why I publish that as the daily circuit. But when I get in with the nitty gritty in terms of like specific decisions, I'm looking at the asteroids too. And I'm looking at it in context with my own stars as well. So just understand that, like, there's a bit more that goes on, but this is where I begin. Okay, so here we have, today is March the 4th. So my circuit for March the 4th should be this one. Oh, of course I can't zoom in very well. That's March the 6th. So this is March the 4th right here. Right? This one I've barely touched. I've just basically gone through the major aspects. This one I did complete previously, just so that I would know the next day after the planning period. That's just me. I plan a little bit further ahead than I need to. I nerd, okay? This is me. Hello. Welcome to my world. Um, so when I go and I continue in with this, right? I mentioned that I will look at certain things in an ordered manner, and I have this folder with my Astro Tickler. In this Astro Tickler folder, everything that's on the, like, base level of the folder itself is stuff that I'm dealing with right now. That's all stuff that I'm dealing with right now. That's the very next level after Canva. So there's at Canva. That's the very first step. The very next step after that is everything that's just kind of loose in here, right? So that's my next step, is I go through all of my conjunctions, all of my sextiles, all my squares, all my oppositions. And you'll notice that some aspects are missing from here, like trines, right? There's no more trines in March. I've already done all the trines in March, so now they're sitting in April. So all the exact aspects are for trine already done throughout the whole month, and I'll show you what I mean. All of the exact aspects are already marked in, right? This exact aspect, this exact aspect. Those are the solid lines, are the exact aspects. When the aspect is precisely on that day at some point, right? And on that day at some point, that aspect is exact. And when you see a dotted line like this one, sorry, not dotted, dashed line. When you see a dashed line like this, that means that it's oncoming, meaning that it's about to be exact. Okay, that's the exact aspect. On the day before, it's oncoming. And then when you see a dotted line, like this one, it means that it's decreasing. It means that yesterday it was exact, and today it's decreasing. This is an aspect that's in decline. So the first thing that I do is I find all of the exact aspects this month, and I mark them in. Once I've found all of the exact aspects that are coming up in the month, just do it this way. I take that exact aspects page, I take it out of the base level, and I put it where I'm going to need it next. So I look at where the next exact aspect is, and there it is. Right? Well, actually, I did skip a step because I don't have any more ingresses in this folder. So you didn't see anything about ingresses. So an ingress is when a planet moves from one position to another, from one sign into another. So the very, very first thing that I do when I set up my month is I look at where the planets are and I put them in where they belong. So this right here would be the moon ingressing into Libra. No, yeah, Aries, sorry. So this would be the moon ingressing to Aries, and this is the moon ingressing to Taurus. And then this is the moon ingressing to Gemini, right? So the very, very first thing I do is I put the planets where they are. And then I put those into whatever next folder they belong in, because that's when I'm going to next have to deal with an ingress. So for example, all the way out in June, we have Lilith doing its next ingress. It's not moving anywhere until June, right? In May, we have, Jupiter, Mercury. Jupiter and Mercury aren't going anywhere again until May. And I can know this just by looking at my Astro Tickler, just by looking at these folders. And this is why it's useful to organize myself in this way, right? All of the files that I need when I need them are where I need them, when I need them. Everything has a place and everything in its place. If you organize yourself such that you have the information that you need when you need it, you can operate a lot faster. And that's why we plan, right? Everything planning. Planning encompasses entirely making sure that you have what you need when you need it. That's why we plan. So, organizing yourself is part of planning. Reviewing your past results is part of planning. When I sit down to plan, I'm making sure that I have everything that I need when I need it. Every action that we take towards making sure that we have everything that we need when we need it is planning. I don't want to mix those words. I want to make sure you take this away, because this is something that is very commonly overlooked. A lot of people are very overwhelmed because they've never made sure that they have what they need when they need it. But if you periodically sit down, like say for example, when the moon says to do so, and it is basically every couple of days. March 4th, March 6th, March 8th, March 10th, March 12th, March 14th, March 17th. If you spend some time every few days, I just don't use all of these time frames because, well, for the unhighlighted ones, I'm not even awake during that time. Use as much as you have available to you because the moon tells you that you should be sitting down to think about making sure that you have what you need every couple of days. That's what the natural rhythm here is saying. That every couple of days you should be sitting down to consider ahead what you're going to need and making sure that you have what you need when you need it. I'm sitting down and doing these star circuits so that when I'm in the moment, I don't have to decide what's the best theme for the day. I can't tell you how many times I have set a theme for a day, woken up on a shit side of the bed, looked at the theme for the day, and went, that's hilarious. Actually, you know what? I really could do it for that. And that would be the really best use of my time. So many times I have outsmarted myself by knowing that, for example, the day's best use was for creating something in media because of the way that Mercury was aspected. But I'm feeling like shit. And then I remember that the best stories to share are how we got through feeling like shit and did it anyway. So, what can I do that fits this theme? That would be a strong use of the emotion that I'm in right now. It's an important question to ask yourself. What can I do which suits this? What can I do? And I've found that when I do that, when I plan ahead, set a theme for the day, and I'm able to just kind of look at the theme for the day as a compass for the general direction that I should go at, I end up having a much more powerful and potent result every single time. So if you like what I do, if you see that I am doing things at a mile a minute and capable of producing so much, and you like what I produce, and it's something that resonates with you, and it's like, wow, how are you reading my mind? It's all because these are the ways that I look at the world. The reason why I can sit here and prattle off the signs and this and the stars and what they mean and all of that, this ain't no weekend hobby for me. I've lived this way for so long as I can remember. I read an ephemeride cover to cover when I was a kid. I've been fascinated with this my whole life. I didn't just shit out this fucking circuit. This is something that I've been obsessed with in terms of seeing the stars as a circuit for decades. Trying to find a way that I can replicate it readily and quickly and easily. I've been spending a lot of planning periods trying to figure out how to make this something that I can do faster and easier and simpler. Because that's ultimately what you need, is your work to be faster and easier and simpler. So I organize myself in a way that makes it faster and easier and simpler. You literally create a tickler file, which I took that out of David Allen's Getting Things Done, and I read that book in the early 2000s. So all I'm doing is putting things in the context for where they belong. so that I have what I need when I need it. The next time I have to deal with retrogrades is in April. I don't have anything retrograde until April. You know, everything is very self-evident. There's nothing clever in the naming. It's very self-evident and simple. And as you see here, I have no more folders than I need. If the folder is empty, I can simply delete it. It's not that difficult to write a month name out again. Just hit the ones you need. You don't need to do anything more than that. It's very simple target practice. Target practice is very hitting the target is very simple. Just hit the ones you need to. Okay? So once I've gone through all of my conjunctions, all of my sextiles, and all of my squares. So, okay, back this up. First, I look at the moon's voided course and figure out when I'm going to plan. And then I go through my ingresses to put all of the planets where they belong, right? That's already long done. Forgive me. And then I go through all of the exact aspects to mark down the exact aspects. And once I've done all of the exact aspects to mark all of the exact aspects, I will mark down all of the moon aspects in that specific day. So now I'm just working on the day-to-day level. I'm going to put down all of the moon aspects for that. I'm going to check ahead and behind to make sure that all of my oncoming and outgoing aspects are accounted for. Once I've done all of those, then the chart is just about perfect. The last thing I'm going to do is go into this dailies folder, and I'm going to look at all of the aspects that are within the orb according to yet another thing, yet another document. I've actually just printed a PDF of a website. So literally just going to look at what is within orb that I might have missed. It's my quality assurance of sorts. And that's literally how I build these charts every single day. And I'm gonna actually sit here and go through and do a chart here live right here, right now. And forgive me, I'm gonna catch a drink here. Actually, I should also probably check up on chat. Aha. Yes, we have people watching. Feel free to say hello. All right. I fully own that I'm a baddie person. All right, so what I'm doing now is I've already done March the 5th. So I'm going to move on to March the 6th. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at March the 5th, the differences between March the 5th and March the 6th. And everything except for the moon. Because the moon aspects change the most. Moon moves a lot. That's why it's up here. Because it moves a lot. The further it goes down the chart, the less I have to update it. That's how this works. I've organized it. Anyway, so anything connected to the moon, I'm not concerned with. I'm just making sure that when I go from here to here, most things look the same, right? Okay. So we've got this Sun to Uranus here going on that isn't happening here. And that says it's oncoming. So looks like it's exact. Excuse me. On the 9th. So let me just fix up this line. And go ahead and do it again. So now this is a solid, actually this should be oncoming, very strong because it's the next day. And we're gonna make it like so. And this one, we're going to do the same thing. Right here. And oncoming. Leave that like so. There we go. Okay. Now that's good. March the 6th. So we have this one oncoming between Mars and Uranus. So let's see, when is that exact? Mars and Uranus are exact square on the 9th. So we're going to make it, okay, that's already there. That's already there. All right, good. But it's different there because of that. I have to see if that orb still exists. We'll see how long that orb exists. I'll probably just fix up that line quickly. Let's see, actually. I don't need this anymore. Let's go to this one. And we're looking at March the 6th-ish for Venus square Uranus. Yep, 4 degrees. Let's see how long this goes on. Oh, no, that long, huh? No, not that long. Venus square Uranus. Alright, so that goes on until March the 8th. Alright, so square, square, decreasing, yellow. Same? Yes, that's the same. Alright, so now move this over. Square, square, decreasing, yellow. And this one, oh, it's gone on that one, that's right. Only goes on until the 8th. So I'm gonna make this even smaller. There we go. Okay. That's good. Now, Mars square Jupiter is exact on the 9th. It's already marked there. No, it's not marked there. Ha ha ha. No, Mars square Uranus. Where's Mars square Jupiter? That's oncoming, right? That says it's oncoming, right? Mars square Jupiter oncoming? When is Mars square Jupiter? This is me one-handed typing, by the way. There we go. Mars square Jupiter All right. I think it's declining. It should be declining. And it would be increasing again by January. So this one has been incorrect. Sometimes that happens. All right, Mars. See, it wasn't even marked here. Goodness. All right, let's see if it's even in my charts. Yeah, it is. And it's decreasing. When is it no longer effective? All right, it's no longer effective, at least by then. Square Jupiter on the 9th, the 10th, and not the 11th. Okay. Let's do it that way. All right. Square Jupiter. Actually. That's pretty good. All right, so Mars squared Jupiter is handled. All right, so March. All right, March 5th into March 6th. Now I'm coming back again to cycle through and make sure that everything is as it should be. The differences. So we have that's the moon aspect. All right, it looks like just about everything that is not a moon aspect is transitioned over. And let's see, when is my next conjunction? March 5th, yeah, I already did that. All right, so conjunctions I've done, I believe. Oh, wait, that's right. I've just not done all the way past March 20th or so. So I need to mark that. Sextiles, March 21st, that's right, yeah. All right, so I've done the 4th, I've done the 5th. On the 6th, we have Moon sextile Mercury. Actually, let's do it this way. Okay. Late night on the 4th, our moon was square Neptune, so... Oh wait, that's in the morning, 10:40 a.m. So that's not even very late, so I won't consider any declining moon aspects. March the 5th, we're working on the 6th actually. Okay, so on March the 5th, we do have a declining aspect. Late at night on March the 5th, we had our moon and sun sextile. So I am going to count that as a declining aspect. There we go. And then on March the 5th, nope, not looking at March the 5th, I'm looking at March the 6th. March 6th. All right, so our moon is trine Uranus, sextile Mercury, and sextile Neptune. Just gonna take away that end point so that it's not as mucka. What is going on here? Oh, that's not the trine conjunction. That would be why it's so mucka. Okay. There we go. See, this stuff happens. All right. I can put this here. All right. And all right, so on March the 6th, there we go. Sextile Mercury, sextile Neptune, conjunct Pluto, trine Uranus. So we'll put the trine like so. And the conjunction like so. There we go. Oops. There. Is there anything happening early on the 7th? No. So now when I go to the Astro for March the 6th, I should see everything already here. Moon sextile Mercury, Moon sextile Mercury, Jupiter sextile Saturn, Jupiter sextile Saturn, Moon sextile Neptune, Moon sextile Neptune, Neptune. I did that sideways. Neptune is over here, not Jupiter. This is why I QA, okay? Let me just double check those, that I did in fact see Moon sextile Neptune. And I was looking at Jupiter down there. Good job, mate. See, this is why I QA, because there's a lot going on, and you need to make sure that it actually is right. So, alright. Moon sextile Neptune. Got it. Mars square Uranus. Mars square Uranus down here. There it is. Yep, Mars square Uranus. And then Sun sextile Uranus. Sun sextile Uranus. Not terribly obvious though, so let me maybe move this. There we go. When is that exact? Right there. Okay. So I can keep it there for now, but Mercury's about to move. So let's do this. All right. Yeah, we'll do it that way. Okay. Sun sextile Uranus. Or what is that? Yeah, Sun sextile Uranus. Mercury conjunct Neptune. Mercury conjunct Neptune. All right. Mercury sextile Uranus. Mercury sextile. Mercury sextile. Get that done. Uranus. Yeah. That's not terribly obvious. That's the line I want. Okay. This a little bit more on the way. There we go. There. That needs to be fixed here as well. And this would be why. Yep. That's what happened. I thought it was already done. All right. So, Sun sextile Jupiter. Sun sextile Jupiter. And then Venus square Uranus. Venus square Uranus. Mars square Jupiter. Here's the Jupiter. Go up to Mars. And Moon trine Uranus. Moon trine Uranus. Jupiter conjunct Uranus. Yeah, Jupiter conjunct Uranus. And Moon conjunct Pluto. Moon conjunct Pluto. So that's how I end up doing one whole day. Kind of go back and forth between a few of the days just to make sure that everything is all lined up and tidy and organized. And that's kind of a big metaphor for planning as well, is just sort of looking back a little bit, looking forward a little bit, and making sure that everything is in line so that when you need it, it's there. I hope that's been useful for you. And I look forward to seeing you on the next planning period, which this is already announced for this baddie person in this baddie channel. You'll see it on every circuit going on out for the next week. And as usual, same baddie person, same baddie channel. Message me as you like to go deeper. Until next time, keep kicking butt. Aloha.